Hi. I didn't brush my hair right before I came up here. Sorry. Let me turn off this feature sounds. Okay. How are you today? Today, I'm going to be talking about Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, and I mentioned something about Lady Diana, but she was Princess Diana later because she married. I was very much part of that whole thing. I mean, I didn't go to the wedding or anything, but yeah. But when I met her, she was Lady Diana. Yeah, well, in the news, I guess I'm gonna share. Let's see. In the news, there's a birthday book that. What am I doing? Okay. Birthday book that they're gonna subpoena from the estate. By the way, I guess I should make myself see. I'm all hidden. By the way, this is day number, I think 16. Oh, I lost somebody. Day number 16. And I've been broadcasting every day live. And it's number 16 today. Over 2 weeks now that I've been going live every day. And I don't know that I'm going to make it a really long day today. I really don't think this is helping my channel, but there is a legality, and so I'm going live every day. I don't really know all just what I want to say every day, but we just see what comes up. So I'm going to share my screen. Oops, I am sharing it. Okay, so Epstein birthday book could soon be made public. What to know? I don't even know what the birthday book is. Alleged birthday book, a document said to list. Oh, I guess that's the list that they referred to. It lists high-profile names linked to the late financier. The request marks, this is the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. They've subpoenaed the executors of Jeffrey Epstein's estate for the records that may include this list or birthday book, as they're referring to it in this article. It marks an escalation of the panel's investigation into how federal authorities handled Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. In an August 25, 2025 letter, committee chairman James Comer, Republican in Kentucky, told the estate's co-executors Daryl Indyke and Richard Kahn that lawmakers are reviewing the possible mismanagement of the federal government's investigation of Mr. Jeffrey Epstein and Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell, the circumstances and subsequent investigations of Mr. Epstein's death, the operation of SEX TRAFFICKING rings, and ways for the federal government to effectively combat them, and potential violations of ethics rules related to elected officials. The committee has requested delivery of the documents by September 8, 2025. And why this matters. The Epstein probe goes beyond re-examining a single criminal case. For lawmakers, It is a test of accountability and how the Justice Department handles politically sensitive investigations, a bid to restore public trust after years of speculation about Epstein's powerful connections, and a vehicle for possible reforms to SEXTRAFFINICKING enforcement and ethics disclosure laws, with President Donald Trump and Attorney General Pamela Bondi now publicly pressing for the release of records. The inquiry also carries political weight, underscoring how questions about transparency and equal treatment under the law remain unsettled. What to know? What is the Epstein birthday book? So-called Epstein birthday book is described as a document prepared for Jeffrey Epstein by Ghislaine. Oh, it's that birthday book. It's not the list. It's just that book that, okay, let me read it. By Ghislaine, it was prepared for Jeffrey Epstein by Ghislaine Maxwell that allegedly contained the names of individuals connected to him. Oh, okay. Reporting by Axios in July 2025 noted that the book has been referenced in records linked to Epstein's estate and cited by congressional investigators, according to the House Oversight Committee's subpoena letter of August 25, 2025. That was yesterday, right? Yes. Recent reporting indicated that the estate may be in possession of the book, which is one reason lawmakers are demanding its release. As for its contents, the book may include a compilation of high-profile names, though the purpose of the list remains unclear. It may be nothing more than a type of contact or guest list, while it could represent individuals Epstein and Maxwell associated with socially. What is known is that Congress now views the birthday book as potentially relevant evidence in its broader investigation into Epstein, Maxwell, and federal oversight failures. The names themselves have not been officially released or confirmed, and their inclusion does not by itself indicate wrongdoing. The Oversight Committee has already sought records from the Department of Justice. On October 5th, it subpoenaed documents related to United States versus Jeffrey Epstein and the United States versus Ghislaine Maxwell, as well as files concerning Epstein's death while in custody at the Metropolitan Correction Center in New York. Renewed political and public focus. The committee's actions come amid renewed political action to the Epstein case. At the outset of the 119th Congress, oversight leaders Comer and Representative Anna Paulina Luna, Republican Florida, who chairs the task force on the declassification of federal secrets. Really? Maybe I should write her, because I'm top secret, and I'd like to, be the federal secret that is declassified. And she's the chair of the task force on declassification of federal secrets. Oh, maybe I should just drop her a line. So anyway, this Representative Anna Paulina Luna, a Republican in Florida, wrote to Attorney General Pamela Bondi requesting a briefing on the Department of Justice Epstein files. A follow-up letter in May asked for the public release of the entirety of the Epstein files. And I believe that if the entirety of the Epstein files were released, that that would release me. It would open the can of worms that is the Claire files, me, and declassify me. President Donald Trump also weighed in. Yeah, of course he would, because he doesn't want me to be released. On July 17, he posted on Truth Social, "I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony," which has nothing in it, subject to court approval. The following day, Bondi announced on X that a motion had been filed to that effect. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche added on July 22nd that the department would be receptive to any cooperation from Maxwell. If Ghislaine Maxwell has information about anyone who has committed crimes against victims, the FBI and DOJ will hear what she has to say. This Department of Justice does not shy away from uncomfortable truths nor from the responsibility to pursue justice wherever the facts may lead. Yeah, as long as it doesn't implicate Donald Trump. Just skip over those parts, okay? Legal and legislative strikes. Epstein was arrested in July 2019 on federal charges of sex, TRA, FFICKING of minors and conspiracy to engage in sex, TRA, FFICKING of minors. The indictment alleged he exploited girls as young as 14. I was younger. I was 12, 13, I believe, when I first met him. The indictment alleged he exploited girls as young as 14 at residences in Manhattan, Palm Beach, and elsewhere. Epstein died by unaliving himself only a month later, while awaiting trial, according to the New York City Medical Examiner. Maxwell was convicted in 2021, a couple years later, and sentenced the next year in 2022 to 20 years in prison for conspiring with Epstein to SEXUALLY ABUSE minors. The Oversight Committee has framed its inquiry as broader than a re-examination of Epstein and Maxwell. Comer wrote that Congress may consider reforms to the use of non-prosecution agreements in sex crime cases, as well as changes to ethics disclosure laws for elected officials. Newsweek contacted ranking members, Republican and Democrat, at the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform for comment via email outside of normal business hours on Tuesday. What people are saying. From Chairman James Comer's subpoena letter of August 25, 2025, the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform is reviewing the possible mismanagement of the federal government's investigation of Mr. Jeffrey Epstein and Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell, the circumstances and subsequent investigations of Mr. Epstein's death, the operation of sex trafficking rings, and ways for the federal government to effectively combat them, and potential violations of ethics rules related to elected officials. He added, it is imperative that Congress conduct oversight of the federal government's enforcement of SEX, TRA, FFICKING laws generally, and specifically its handling of the investigation and prosecution of Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell. The committee may use the results of this investigation to inform legislative solutions to improve federal efforts to combat sex, TRA, FFICKING, and reform the use of non-prosecution agreements and or plea agreements in sex crime investigation. From President Donald Trump on Truth Social, July 17, 2025. Yeah, we already read that. I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. Yeah, nothing in that grand jury testimony. I mean, didn't they say that up here? I mean, I don't know. I didn't go back and repeat that, did I? It seems very repetitive, doesn't it? I already read that. Our motion has been filed, Pam Bondi said. Okay, I already read that too. Is that the end here? What happens next? The Epstein estate has until September 8, 2025. My stepmother celebrates her birthday the day after that. And how old is she going to be now? She was born in 1959. I don't know. I guess she's 4 years away from being what? 70? Yeah. When she turns, so she would be 66 on September 8. Yeah. Okay, so they have until September 8th to respond to the House Oversight Committee's subpoena, which seeks documents that could include the alleged birthday book. See, I thought the birthday book was the book that where, it was his birthday and all these people wrote little messages to him. And there's one from Trump, draws a picture of a woman's breasts or something and her body and says, I don't know what he says. He has like some like weird message and he's claiming, "Oh, that doesn't sound like me. It's not me." Yes, it is. I don't doodle. Yes, you do. We have plenty of doodles over the years from Donald Trump. It's so ridiculous. And people just believe this stuff. His denial. But I guess the birthday book is actually the list, Epstein's list that everybody wants to get their hands on. I would have thought it would have been that birthday book where everybody's wishing him a happy birthday, right? Maybe they just kind of call it that to confuse everybody. The estate could comply, negotiate narrower disclosure, or resist, in which case lawmakers may pursue contempt proceedings or seek a court order. At the same time, the committee is awaiting records it already subpoenaed from the Justice Department, which cover Epstein's prosecution, Maxwell's conviction, and Epstein's 2019 death in custody. What happens next depends on how much material the estate provides and how courts handle questions of grand jury secrecy or sensitive evidence. Any disclosures will likely feed into hearings or legislative proposals. As Chairman James Comer has said, the findings could guide reforms to I said it, trafficking, add that to the end, enforcement, limits on non-prosecution agreements, ethics rules for elected officials, whether the documents are made public remains an open question. I thought I read that earlier. It seems like this article is very repetitive. I guess that's how they made it longer for everybody to read. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm really looking to everybody that has anything to do with my declassification already has all this material in their hands. They have everything they need. They're just waiting for the date. And I guess all of this action and filing of documents is just meant to kind of fill the void and stall, not stall, but things are coming. I'm getting declassified. I know it's being processed right now. And all this stuff is just meant to kind of like let everybody know, including me, they're processing it. I mean, they have all the documents they need. It's not like they have to get it from anywhere else. This is just stuff that's filling in the time gap, because we're all waiting and wanting answers. So they gotta like make it look like they're working and while it's being processed, and this is what they're doing. Yeah, I get really, really tired, of all this. Anyway, there was something that was really piqued my interest earlier today, and I was watching something, and I don't really. Let me stop sharing. I really don't remember what it was. Let me put this down a little more. Yeah, we gotta get Snow White in there. I don't remember. It was kind of interesting, whatever it was, and I don't remember what it was. I'm just kind of getting tired. I'm just I need to make money and, going live every day. I just feel like it's kind of ruining my channel. Not that my channel had anything to lose. It was a really, you know, my channel wasn't doing much. But yeah, I'm trying to research ways to make some money, because until I'm declassified, I have no assets. I have none of my assets or anything, and I just have to kind of survive on very little. Me and my husband, we have a lot of bills. We have two properties, because we moved up here into New York State, and we have to put the other property up for sale because, that's the only way we're gonna raise any money. We left Georgia not really knowing what we were gonna do. I just know, Dean just knew, Dean had been begging my husband, Dean, needed to leave. He's born and raised in Georgia, and he just needed to get out. And, we didn't know where we were gonna go at first, and then eventually, we looked at so many different options, and then finally we settled on going to the land here. This is the land of my maternal lineage, and of course we would come here, right? When at the beginning of our relationship, we were gonna buy a house in Wellsville back then, and because he was just my friend, and I just didn't want to take advantage of Dean, because I didn't know if we were gonna, have a relationship or anything. He was just my friend. I called it off. I had a dream about, losing touch with him, and he had bought this house in Wellsville and left the land where he grew up and was raised, and that was because of me, and I had lost touch with him, and then when he, and then I find out he died, and he had, I don't know, and I just felt really bad in the dream, and felt like, I really, it wasn't right for me to uproot him from the land, the place he was born and raised, and lived his whole life, and so I called it off, and we didn't buy a house at that time, and I just kind of forgot about it. And then Dean was desperate to leave Georgia. I mean, for years he was hounding me to leave, for us to leave, and I was content with our living situation. We had a low cost of living. The most cost-effective situation was just to stay where we were. I knew Dean didn't understand how expensive it is in the world. He'd always lived in one place. He didn't really understand how cost effective it was to stay put, but he insisted. He made us move. And now we have two properties, and we can't afford to carry both of them. I mean, when we left, we thought, oh, that we would get my money right away, but it didn't work out that way. Still waiting for that money, that all those assets, money, everything that is mine and only mine, and has always been mine and only mine since birth and beyond. And we're still waiting. So, we ran out of money. We had a little money, and we ran out, and then we got a little tiny bit more, and that ran out. Lily, she's my dog is chasing, I don't know what, a little moth or something, some bug. Um, so yeah, I'm just kind of bummed out about my situation. I'm tired of talking about it to everybody every day. Um, I enjoy the idea of going live every day, but it's no fun when I know that very few people care what I have to say, and I'm screwing up my channel, and but I know when I break through, all of this content will be precious to everyone. They'll be eating it up. I'll get lots of views one day. I think that's what they want me to do, is create a lot of content. I hadn't created a lot of content over the years. I'm just looking at my part here. Can't get my hair right. um it's still not right, but this will do. Um yeah, I just really just not very motivated. I'm more focused on like some projects, to make money. Um, the power of AI is really amazing, and just trying to research. I really, I really love parodies, and I'm really good at that kind of humor, and um, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm legally safe, and I don't want to put myself in legal jeopardy. I'm a little sensitive to legalities. That's probably why I haven't done it before, even though I love parodies. I think they're great. But as long as it's a parody and as long as it's newsworthy and of public interest and it's like a commentary, it's a creative expression, those are all exceptions to the right of publicity, the rights of publicity for a celebrity. You know, I have the right to creatively express my opinion. And I'm not trying to harm anybody. I'm just trying to express myself, and it is of public interest. And then of course, I'm looking into, I have to wait to be able to afford the AI I need to do these projects, though. I have very little money, and the bills just add up. There's just different situations. We had a situation this week that I'm not making public. It's just another thing on the pile. I didn't mention that after we got our car all got a new mirror to pass inspect. Somebody stole our mirror of her car. I mean, it's so many things have happened to us here in New York that have never happened to us anywhere. This is a safe rural area of New York State. It's like it's country. Hornell has a population of a little over 8,000 people. It is a city, but it only qualified as a city when my grandpa lived here. It doesn't it would never qualify as a city today of 8,000 people, right? I think it was like up to 15,000. Grandpa lived here. And that was its heyday. I mean, it was booming, it was growing, everybody was very excited, and this town was built to grow, and it just never its growth got stunted. I'm talking about Hornell, and, I'm gonna I know with my presence here and, the disclosure of everything having to do with me, Hornell is gonna be put on the map, and it will finally grow. I know Wellsville doesn't want to grow. It never did. It's like always wanted to be a private town, and it'll stay a private. But Hornell wants to grow, and that's why we landed here. And of course, the history that my family has here is instrumental. Um, I don't know what to say anymore. Jeffrey, if you're out there, do your magic and get me declassified. Help me make this happen. I'm one of I'm one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. And I don't have anything to document that. I can't show up in a court of law and say, "Hi, I knew Jeffrey at this time," because all my people have all the documentation. I don't have anything. There's no photos. I don't know how these girls that come forward as his victims document it and prove it, and so that they're included in whatever case that is in existence. I just know I don't have any way of proving anything, so I don't even attempt to contact or come forward. Like I think I heard of some other victim coming forward. Let me look that up right now. Like I don't know how do they document that they're an actual victim? New victim comes forward in Epstein case. While there have been no recent reports of a specific new victim coming forward, legal and legislative efforts to expose the full extent of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes have created a new public focus on the case. In August 2025, that's right now, several key developments have brought renewed attention to the possibility of additional victims and co-conspirators. Congressional subpoenas, yes. Victims speak publicly. So, U.S. Here, I guess I'll share my screen. I'm sorry. I guess that would be easier. Victims speak publicly. A bipartisan effort led by U.S. representatives has arranged for new survivors of Epstein's ABUSE to speak publicly for the first time in September. Oh, 2025. This includes individuals who are allegedly ABUSED by Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein. Right. And Virginia Geffer, right? Unfortunately she passed away, and I don't know why. She said she didn't want to unalive herself. She made that abundantly clear. She made that public. So I really think, I can't believe that she would do that to herself. She was, she wrote a memoir, and and it's gonna be released now, even though she has passed away. They're gonna release it in October. And her account could bring new details to light, yes. As part of the ongoing focus on the case, the Department of Justice interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell, yes. Historically, new victims have continued to come forward in the years following Epstein's 2019 death. Notable instances reported in the media include Jennifer Aras in 2019. After Epstein's arrest in 2019, Jennifer Aras came forward publicly on NBC's Today Show, stating that he AR'd her when she was 15 years old. She filed court papers to sue him and told her story after being fearful of coming forward for years. Jane Doe 15 in 2019, a woman referred to as Jane Doe 15 filed a lawsuit in November 2019 alleging she was TRAFFICKED by Epstein and was in his circle when she was a teenager. More victims come forward in 2020. In July of 2020, as the case against Ghislaine Maxwell was progressing, a lawyer confirmed that more victims of ABUSC were coming forward. Okay, I'm just curious, because I don't think I'm able to come forward because I have no way of proving anything. I have no documentation. How new victims come forward in Epstein case. They continue to come forward through civil lawsuits. So I have to file a lawsuit. Yeah, like I guess there are a lot of lawyers that work, what do you call it? For free, whatever that's called. There's a term. I can't think of the term right now. Media exposure. Okay, so they come forward through civil lawsuits, media exposure, and by engaging with legal counsel. Despite Epstein's death in 2019, ongoing investigations and increased public scrutiny have created new opportunities for survivors to seek justice. Key pathways for new victims emerging include legal actions against associates and the estate. Victims can sue Epstein's estate and his alleged co-conspirators, including Ghislaine Maxwell and others who were part of his network. Civil cases can proceed even after the death of the primary offender. Congressional probes, ongoing investigation by congressional committees continue to explore the full extent of Epstein's enterprise. Recent activities, such as subpoenas for files from Epstein's estate and transcripts of interviews with Ghislaine Maxwell, have brought renewed attention to the case and may encourage victims to step forward seeking legal counsel. Many victims contact lawyers who specialize in sexual cases. These lawyers can help navigate the complex legal landscape and determine the best course of action, which may not require public disclosure. I don't mind public disclosure, honestly. Anything to just put my, just open the can of worms, please. Unsealed documents, the public release of court documents and files related to the case has brought fresh scrutiny and may lead more individuals to recognize their own experiences as part of a larger pattern of victim advocacy. Public statements and advocacy by established victims encourage others to come forward. For example, Virginia Roberts Geffer, her decision to go public inspired many other survivors. Her upcoming posthumous memoir is also expected to draw more attention. Journalism and reporting, continuing media coverage of the case, new revelations, and interviews with former associates keep the issue in the public eye. This exposure can prompt survivors to seek legal avenues they were not previously aware of. For instance, a Justice Department interview transcript with Ghislaine Maxwell was recently released. Upcoming victim statements in September 2025. Several new survivors are expected to speak out publicly in a news conference alongside members of Congress. Well. I don't know how to be part of that. I don't even think they want me to be part of that. I just don't know what to do. Extended statutes of limitation, look back windows provided by legislation like the New York Child's Victims Act can allow victims to file lawsuits even if the standard statute of limitations has expired. While New York's look-back window has now closed, similar efforts in other jurisdictions of future legislation or future legislative changes could create new opportunities. And then there's a victims' compensation fund. While the official Epstein Victims Compensation Program is closed, its prior existence demonstrated a path to compensation for victims. The fund paid out approximately $121 million to more than 135 survivors. Wow. I don't know. I just always think that I can't prove anything, so how am I going to, what are they going to do about me? Responding to public controversies, recent public actions by the Justice Department, including a memo disputing the existence of a client list, caused fear and anger among some victims. This backlash prompted lawyers for several survivors to write to a judge to protect victims' anonymity while demanding transparency. Well, Epstein's death marked the end of the criminal prosecution against him, ongoing investigations into his associates, and the continued impact of civil lawsuits and public disclosures ensure that new information and new victims can still emerge. And one thing about me is that my memories are ever, I don't know if it's evolving, they're developing. I remembered a lot of new things in the last, since I've been doing these lives. I've remembered a lot of new things. And whenever that happens, it kind of turns back the clock and it starts all over again. The statute of limitations it's reset. And, with me, because I have so much and so many people in, it involves so many people. The FBI told me that the statute of limitations turns back on everything that ever happened to me. Everything is treated as one thing because there's just so many people involved. So everything, the clock is turned back all over again because I have new memories that have surfaced that I have documented on this live stream. And that's the way it works with me. That's how they treat me. So the statute of limitations are reset for me. And I don't know what it is, but I'm in New York State now. So It looks like they're I mean, let me just see what it says in New York State. Statute of limitations in New York State regarding victims. All right. In New York State, the statute of limitations for civil SEX crime lawsuits for adult survivors depends on the date of the abuse, with the Adult Survivors Act ASA providing a special 1-year look-back window that expired on November 24, 2023 for claims that would have otherwise been time barred. For ongoing civil claims, the law now generally allows survivors to file a lawsuit up to 20 years after the A occurred under civil practice law. Lily! And rules CVP section 213C. For child survivors, okay, I'm not a child, so that's a different situation. So that is okay for 20 years. But what if you don't remember it until you're like, it's over 20 years ago. Um yeah. See, I don't even know what that means. So what was that special 1-year look back window? What was that? 1 year look back? What is a 1 year like look back for claims that would have otherwise been time barred? Okay, so they gave victims like 1 year 1 year of time to file uh lawsuits. They gave them 1 year on situations that would have been like where the statute of limitations in New York had already expired, and they renewed it for 1 year so that you could file anything for that 1 year period. What if somebody doesn't have money for a lawyer? Pro bono, that's the word. I guess you can find a lawyer that'll do it pro bono, right? I guess a lot of these lawyers will because they get a lot of media attention, right? I don't know. I mean, I don't have money for an attorney. I'm just so tired, of all my situations, and I'm left to just like, what am I left to do? I mean, I know my people have extracted all the money that I deserve from all, you know, my ABUSERs, but that hasn't benefited me. It has benefited my accounts, but not me. Who's going to pay me? When do I get to see that money? When do I get that money in my hand? Not some account that is managed by other people that I've never had access to. I mean, that doesn't make a difference to me. I'm the person who was ABUSCD, not my account. My bank account wasn't ABUSCD. The person was. So the money should be in the person's hands, not the account that I have no access to. It's just disgusting that this has been allowed to continue. And I'm sitting here, 59 years old. Okay, it's August. We're almost done with August. September, I have 2 more months and I'm 60 years old. I mean, are you waiting for my birthday? I mean, I'm just so tired. So tired. Waiting for my birthday, right? It doesn't, I mean, I have a twin, I have a triplet brother. It has nothing to do with them. I thought that was the point, we were going to make a special day for me. My twin didn't go through this shit. She was put up for adoption at birth. I was the only baby my mother kept. My twin and my triplet brother, they were adopted by other people. I mean, my triplet brother was put near in the 60s. They didn't he was so small. He was a very tiny little baby. He fit in your hand. And they were very worried he wouldn't survive. And so they shipped him down to the Dominican Republic and they put him in the arms of a 16-year-old girl from a poor family in Santo Domingo. And, you know, and that family did win the lottery at some point, which paid them the money, you know, that they were promised later on. I mean, I don't think that my tripper brother benefited in any way financially. His family, the extended family, his mother died of encephalitis, supposedly, in the Dominican Republic when he was 16. He was orphaned at age 16. I mean, he had a guy sign his um his birth certificate finally. I mean, didn't want to sign it for the longest time, and then when he was 5, he finally agreed to sign it, but he was from Puerto Plata. Yeah, now see, I couldn't think of those names the other day when I was talking about this, and he signed it, and that's when, my ex-husband he became my husband. I married my tripled brother. It was planned that I marry him for citizen. He was born in the US, but when he was planted, shipped off to the Dominican Republic, they didn't have any documentation of his US citizenship. And, he had to come back into the US at age 5. His mother brought him back and, brought him to the US at age 5, and he got a green card. And when he married me, they, I guess we had to be married 3 years, and then they fast tracked his citizenship. And he, to this, the last time up until, I mean, he always denied that marrying me had anything to do with his citizenship status. He's denied it. He's now remarried to another woman. He's always denying, denying, denying. But yeah, I mean, he wouldn't have become a US citizen without marrying me. But he was born a US citizen. So, and they wanted me to help him get that US citizenship back, and that's what happened. He got it back through me, and I wish he would just stop denying it. It's no big deal. He had a green card most of his life, and all he had to do was marry an American citizen, and his citizenship would be fast tracked. It's simple. I mean, it's simple. Anyway, I don't know what to do. I don't know what my people want me to do. I mean, I don't have money to pay a lawyer. Attorneys, I've never had an attorney offer to work for me pro bono ever in my life. I don't know what kind of case would qualify for pro bono. I mean, I know Cato, he had a pro bono attorney in this OJ Simpson trial. I mean, everybody got pro bono, but nobody's ever given me pro bono anything. So, I mean, I don't know what qualifies for pro bono. I guess it's just every attorney's call. I don't know. They're just always wanting money is my experience. Money I don't have. And what little money I do have, they've taken it and left me broke. And what do I have to show for it? Not a whole lot at this point. It's just, they've made a lot of money off me, though, because my people pay them also. I may not be able to afford very much myself, but they just go to my people and they get paid whatever they want. Apparently, that's the way. Lawyers have it really good in this country. Apparently, and people like me don't really count, and don't. I'm just supposed to hang in there and be patient and not question authority. And yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know what to do with Epstein. I didn't even pay attention when people were coming forward about that. And yeah, when he died, I didn't care about his estate. I'm just so tired of this shit. I deserve some money from somewhere, someone. I have a lot of money, that's in my name. Why can't I get anything for? Oh, I didn't realize you could hardly see me. I'm gonna stop sharing. Yeah, I'm just kind of just really tired of doing I'm tired of my situation, and I just don't understand why I have to keep waiting for what's mine. Why do I have to wait for what belongs to me? Why do I have to keep going on like this? I mean, is there some magic date I don't know about? I mean, we talked about different dates, 9/11, August 29, that's the big day. That's when my father died. That's Michael Jackson's birthday. And of course, my brother-in-law made sure that was the day he did in their mother, my husband's twin, did in their mother on that day with morphine, just like my father was done in that by my brother. You know, August 29th. That's just 4 days away, isn't it? No, 3 days away. We're on the 26th. Could it be that day? Okay, so the 26th is Tuesday, 7 is Wednesday, 8 Thursday, 9 is Friday.
Nice round day Friday.
So, Dean, your mother died. Is it only 2? It feels like an eternity ago. 2 years ago, Friday.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, she died in 2023. Yeah. Dean's twin did her in. It's very sad. And I didn't get along with her at all. She was like I mean, it was such a war, her and me. There was just such a war that she waged against me, and it was so hard. I never had an adversary like that in my entire life ever. And somehow we got through, but when she died, I felt so bad for her. I really did. Everything changed when she died, and the way she died, it was just so shocking to me, and I felt so bad for her. And I guess, that's when my relationship with my mother-in-law improved when she died, you know. Not that I mean, for years I was just like, I wish she would go away. Yeah, she was sick and she was dying, and I just wanted her to die already and leave us alone, right? Leave me alone. I did. But then when she died, I felt so bad, you know, when Dennis, my husband's brother, did what he did to her. And it had a lot to do with what I told him over the years, and he made sure it was after, I told him about how my grandmother died. They waited till after midnight to make sure it was on the day they wanted, and that's what he did with he just copied what I told him. That's how crazy he is, and I felt so bad when what happened to my mother-in-law. And I know she screamed really loud. I know there's a neighbor that must have heard her, and they didn't put it together until they heard that, the neighbors now know what he did because he told them. And, he's confessed. He's like on household arrest, or he can't leave the area, the CSRA, as they call it, the Central Savannah River area. Mhm. But he's not in jail. They said that they were going to show up at his door early in the morning on Monday. They didn't specify which Monday, and we're still waiting for him to be picked up and taken. I check the website every day in Richmond County to see if he's on the jail roster. He's never on the jail roster. And, we have to go back to Augusta at some point to prepare our house to be put on the market, which, when we left Georgia, we didn't I didn't want to sell our house. That's our love nest. That we spent, I never lived anywhere longer than I lived in that house. And we have to put it on the market, and somebody else is going to get that house. That house is worth a lot more because of what happened there, and because of, who lived there, and so we're just gonna hand that to somebody else. I know my twin who lives across the street, who I've never actually officially met yet. Yeah. Yeah. Dean's talking. Everything's JFK with Dean. Yeah, my twin, she would love to, steal our house and sell it for a fortune on the black market. I don't know, the undercover market, the CIA market, whatever the hell it is. she obviously has some kind of clearance, and I think she thinks she's so superior to me. I just get so tired of my twin. She's using the authorities to hassle us and, I guess trying to put pressure on us to go back to Augusta so she can buy my house. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. She wants to buy my house. I don't want my twin to buy it. Let that be known. I do not want my twin to buy our love nest. She doesn't deserve it. I lived across the street from her. I mean, she moved to my neighborhood. That was our neighborhood. We lived there first. And then she bought a house across the street from us. And I have still never met her. She doesn't want to meet me. She just, I don't know, she thinks that somehow she benefits from not ever meeting me. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm glad I don't know her. What an insane person to live across. I mean, she didn't know she was moving across the street from me. She didn't know. She didn't know until I told her my name, and then she did a 180 and just acted really weird towards me for months and months and months, and then it took me, like, a couple years to figure out she was my twin. Okay, she doesn't look anything like me, you know? We w we're not, we're identical twins, but, because my mother, was injected with heroin on a weekly basis, while we were in utero, and she drank gin. You know, it's amazing we even survived such a pregnancy. All 3 of us, we were triplets, survived, and I was the firstborn and the only healthy, normal baby at birth and now. Okay, I'm not a baby anymore, though.
Oh, yes, you are. You're my baby.
All right, sweetheart. Dean says that I guess you heard him, right? Um, Thank you, Dean.
Okay.
Yeah, but my twin, she thinks she's superior to me. She thinks that she's the one that's getting all the money. I don't know why she thinks this. She's the second born. She was the biggest baby at birth. She was. I was the firstborn, and I was petite. I was not the smallest baby, but I was not the biggest. The biggest baby was my twin, but she was second born because she was not normal up there. Normal. I was the leader. Okay, I led the way. I was the first out of the womb. And because my mother knew that I was the only healthy, normal baby, she kept me. Okay. But my mother was impressed with the size of my twin. She was, but there was something wrong with her. And my mother chose to keep the firstborn, healthy, normal baby. I mean, I'm sorry, my mother would not have been able to handle triplets. I mean, and my twin is so fortunate, and so is my triplet brother, that she didn't grow up in my family. I mean, I don't think they would have survived my family. Okay, they just wouldn't have. And if they did, they'd be worse. They'd be less normal and less healthy than they are now. They had a better life in some ways than I did. I mean, in a lot of ways than I did, and I just wish they would understand that, I have a special mission, and that's why I'm getting everything, okay? And I deserve it. I've paid with my own flesh and blood and sweat and tears, and I just don't think my twin understands that. It's just always about her. She At age 15, she was put in other people's bodies, and one of those people was Trump. And this, if you want to know my twin, just look at Trump. That's my twin. She likes being in a man's body because she thinks she's a man in a woman's body, and she's just like Trump. She's just like Trump, and I don't get along with Trump and never will. So yeah, I would like to meet her though. I would like to meet her. Never been allowed to officially meet her. She's met me because she knows who I am, always has. She's had many opportunities to examine me up close and personal without me knowing who she is. And I've never had that opportunity ever. Every time I figure out who she is, She's across the I've only seen her across the room. That was something that happened in the last couple years. For the first time, I've been able to examine her across the room. I am nearsighted, so I don't even get to see her very clear. I saw her semi clearly. I'm not too nearsighted. I can see okay, but there's nothing like meeting somebody face to face and really looking in their eyes and being able to see them up close, and hear her voice. And I've never, when I saw her up close, well, I didn't ever stand close to her. I was on another property. I don't think I ever went to their door and talked to her. This is before I knew who she was and before she knew who I was. I was talking to her when I was at Elizabeth's house. Elizabeth's house is right next door to where the house they bought, and I was talking to them across, from another property next door, and that's a long distance, it's not up close. And that was the nicest she ever was to me when she didn't know who I was. She probably thought, "Oh, that person looks a lot like Claire," because she knows all about me. And and then I told her, "Oh, yeah, we're Clarendine." And she's like, "Oh my god, it's Claire, oh my god," and then from then on, she hid from me and was mean to me and, doesn't wanna know me. Okay, great, and I didn't know why she was so mean and so cold, and finally, just a few years ago, I finally realized she was my twin. Finally, I mean, she doesn't look like me, so I didn't immediately recognize her or anything. She looks like, somebody who's related to me. She looks like my older sister or something. She just doesn't look like me. But yeah, I think if I saw her up close, I would see, I think we have similar eyes. And I did quiz her husband. She's married. And she uses a different name. She lives a fake identity, and she's married to some guy, and, they have this fake story of how they met and when they got married. They supposedly have kids, and, they're just a fake family. I'm sure this is what the CIA does. They put together people and fake families all the time. And, you know, she's got adult children and grandchildren, and they all pretend they're a family, even though the adult children probably have 2 families, I mean, not 2, I mean, they have their real families, and then they have other families, and they just tell their friends, "Oh, yeah, this is an extended part of my family. Yeah, this is my other family." I mean, they just have ways of telling people and who are part of their family or grew up with them. "Oh, yeah, I have another family. This is just another family I've always had." And, they just have ways of explaining it to people without, them knowing it's a fake arrangement by the CIA. But yeah, I don't want my twin to buy my house. I think that Dean and I deserve to hold on to it. I always dreamt of renovating it. And I mean, we don't really particularly want to spend time in Georgia anymore. But when you have money, you can have another property and you can afford to carry another property, and and we'll come down and visit. I just think that if anyone deserves to own that special landmark, which is our love nest, it which should be Dean and me, not my twin or somebody else who doesn't know us. I should be able to be the one to renovate it, you know. I'm just really sad that we just don't have any other option but to sell it, but we can't even afford to go down there to prepare the property to put it on the market. They've got us like they've got us in a holding pattern. So I figure it's going to happen any day now. Maybe it'll happen in 4 days, 3 days, like I said, August 29th. Maybe they're going to use Michael Jackson's birthday, your mother's death date, my father's death date, August 29th. Maybe that's the day. That is one of the days I was thinking. And then there's 9/11 soon after that. That's a big date in my life. That's the day I separated from my ex-husband in 1988. Maybe that, it's the date Bush and the Bush administration chose to orchestrate 9/11. Yeah, that was a government, U.S. government stunt, sadly. Mm, your guess is as good as mine. Let me see. I don't have any comments. Just want to make sure I don't. So watch out, Friday, August 29th. We'll see if that's a day in history. I don't know. Friday is usually the worst day to release information. I mean, the big news day is Tuesday, and that's today. Yeah, I wish I could remember what there was something that came up and I really wanted to talk about it, but I got distracted. Dean had I had a doctor's appointment today. We got back from it not so long ago. Well, I've been on for an hour and 21 minutes, so I guess this is a good time to I didn't really have much to say today. And I really appreciate you all who are watching. Give me a thumbs up because I deserve it. And subscribe if you haven't already because, but only if you can handle the truth. Because that's when I am the truth, and maybe you don't like it, but it's the truth. And if the law is anything, it is the truth. That is like the highest law of the land is the truth. All right. Have a good one. Peace out. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks. Oh, wait. You know what? I'm going to play my outro. Sorry.